There's a moment many people experience at least once in their life. You look around and you see someone working less than you, yet things seem to move smoothly for them. Their relationship appears at the right moment. Their career finds momentum quickly. Money begins to flow. And meanwhile, you're trying. You're sincere. You're disciplined. You're putting in the effort, but the results feel delayed. Not absent, just delayed. And this creates a quiet question inside the mind. Is effort enough? Or is there something else, something invisible, influencing when life begins to respond? Most of us are taught a very simple question: work hard, stay focused, results will come. And to some extent, that is true. Effort matters. But life rarely operates through a straight line. Sometimes the same action produces very different outcomes depending on when it happens. The same conversation can either start a relationship or end one. The same business idea can fail one year and succeed the next year. The same person can feel invisible in one phase of life and suddenly recognized in another. So the question slowly changes. Maybe the real question is not only about effort. Maybe the question is about timing. If you observe your own life carefully, you may notice something interesting. Certain years feel heavy. Things move slowly. Opportunities close before they fully open. You meet people, but the connection does not stabilize. Work is happening, but the recognition is missing. And then suddenly, a different period arrives without dramatically changing who you are. Life begins to move. The right conversation appears. The right collaboration happens. A relationship forms. Money stabilizes. From the outside, it looks like success. But internally, you know something else. You know you were already trying before. So what changed? Was it effort? Or was it the face of life itself? Human beings often underestimate the importance of phases. We think life is a continuous highway, but in reality, it behaves more like chapters. Every chapter has its own rhythm. Some chapters are designed for exploration, some are designed for learning through friction, some are designed for building stability, and some are designed for expansion. The challenge is we rarely know which chapter we are in while we are living it. So when results do not appear, the mind becomes harsh. But sometimes the deeper truth is different. Sometimes the chapter itself is asking for patience. Let me explain this pattern without using any astrology terms for a moment. Imagine a farmer. The farmer can work very hard, prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water the land. But if the season is not correct, the crop will not grow. Not because the farmer is lazy, not because the farmer lacks discipline, but because the environment has its own timing. And life works in a very similar way. Effort prepares the soil, but timing allows the seed to grow. Without timing, effort becomes exhausting. Without effort, timing becomes wasted. Both are required, but they do not operate at the same level. This is where many people begin to feel confused about their lives. They look at someone else's timeline and compare it to their own. Someone gets married early. Someone finds career success early. Someone builds wealth early. And someone else arrives later. Society tends to reward early success, but life does not operate on society's schedule. Some people bloom early, some bloom late. And sometimes the late bloomers carry a depth that early success never required. So when you feel delayed, it does not always mean you're behind. Sometimes it simply means your chapter has not opened yet. In the tradition of Jyotish, which many people call Vedic astrology, life is seen as a sequence of time periods. These time periods are often described as chapters. Each chapter has its own themes. Certain chapters focus on responsibility, certain chapters focus on relationships, certain chapters focus on ambition, visibility, or wealth, and some chapters focus on inner restructuring. So when people ask why the same effort sometimes produces different results, one possible explanation is that they're living inside different chapters of their life. In Jyotish, these chapters are called dashas, but it is important to understand something clearly. Dashas are not predictions. They're not telling you exactly what will happen. They're simply describing the environment you're moving through. For example, there are periods where relationships naturally come into focus. People appear, connections are deepened, decisions around partnership begin to arise. Then there are periods where responsibility becomes stronger. Work demands attention, structure is required. Growth may happen, but through discipline. There are also periods where ambition intensifies, opportunities appear, visibility increases, and money begins to respond to effort. But if someone tries to force the wrong outcome during the wrong phase, life can feel resistant. You try to accelerate something, but it does not stabilize. You push harder, but the door remains half open. Not because you are incapable, but because life is asking you to align with the phase. This idea can be surprisingly relieving. You realize that effort and timing must cooperate. Effort is your participation, timing is the larger rhythms. And the exact way this plays out always depends on your personal structure. So, what do we do with this understanding? How do we live with it practically? The first step is simple. Stop comparing timelines. Someone else's life chapter cannot be used as a measurement for yours. The second step is reflection. Ask yourself, what seems to be the theme of my current phase? Is life asking me to build something slowly? Is it asking me to restructure something inside myself? Is it bringing people into my life or removing them? And the third step is alignment. When you align effort with the phase you are living, resistance often decreases. You're no longer forcing life to follow a script. You're cooperating with the chapter you are in. This does not mean becoming passive. Timing does not replace effort. It simply gives effort direction. The farmer still works, but the farmer respects the season. When the season arrives, growth becomes natural. And this is why sometimes a single year of life can change everything. Not because you suddenly became a different person, because the chapter shifted. If you look back at your life, you may already see this pattern. Years that felt slow, years that felt transformative, years where people appeared unexpectedly, years where things quietly dissolved. Life was not random, it was moving through phases. And once you begin to recognize these rhythms, something inside the mind softens. You still work, you still try, but the anxiety around timing begins to reduce because you realize something important. Life is not asking you to act, it is also asking you to listen. Every life has a specific timing and structure. The exact way these cycles unfold is always unique to the individual.